today I want to jump into some more complex spelling patterns for children. And so far in my videos that I make for Learning Littles, I've covered what we know as CVC patterns, which are the consonant, vowel, consonant words. That's where we see a consonant, a vowel in the middle, and it ends with a consonant. And that would be an example such as the stereotypical first word to read, cat. I've also shared the mighty E or the silent E at the end, and we call that word pattern a CVCe or mighty E at the end. And that's just that mighty E, that silent E, helping the vowel to say its own name. Those are great first steps. Definitely the CVC words are great for littles when they're first learning to blend. And then the mighty E, that silent E word pattern, is a great first step into new territory when it comes to blending words. But there comes a point when our kids are ready to go beyond that. And that can feel a little bit, I don't want to say terrifying, but a little overwhelming because it can be very hard to explain those spelling patterns. A lot of us didn't learn those phonics rules in school, and so it becomes a little bit challenging to understand how to explain it to our littles. And so I want to give you a great strategy, especially if your learning little is really struggling with understanding how to identify, find those vowel patterns within words that go beyond that silent E. So we're going to dig into that today. If you want to go back and watch the video about blending 3-letter words, those CVC words, I have a great video that gives the 3 steps to doing that successfully with Learning Littles. So I'm going to go ahead and link that down below, and it's right up here as well. But also, please take advantage of the calendar that I have for December, as well as the upcoming January calendar that's going to be released. I'm so excited for the new videos that will be coming out. I'm so excited for some of the new features that I'm going to be sharing with Learning Littles and their families. You might be hearing a little sound right now. That's actually my house bun, Bella, my bunny, and she happens to be chewing on one of her little bamboo plates right now, which is super great for her teeth. So we'll just let her do that. I was hoping she would stick to her lettuce and not lettuce, but greens. But she's moved on to the somewhat louder plate, but that's okay. We're gonna let her nibble away. All right, so with that being said, I want to encourage you to go ahead and take advantage of all of those resources. Most of my resources are absolutely free, and they are grounded in the science of reading. They're grounded in my training in phonetics and also my experience of over 20 years of teaching more than 100 children to read, including my own 2 boys. All right, so diving into our next pattern. Our next pattern is a consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant. We also call this a CVCe for short. So you might see that written in some curriculum, or if you're reading something about teaching reading, that's all that that means. It really just stands for consonants and vowels. So I'm going to dig into blends now, and blends are different than digraphs. Digraphs are when 2 letters work together to say one sound, not their individual sounds. But a blend is when, much like a smoothie, when you blend those ingredients, you still have the flavors of the banana and the apple. Maybe the spinach is a little hidden in there, but it still remains that you still have those flavors. And with a blend, a letter blend, it's the same. You still have those sounds that they make individually. They're just blended smoothly together. So again, keeping in mind that when we do boxes, we always want to have 1 box per sound, all right? Not per letter, but per sound. In this case, in this word that we're going to work on, it is going to be 1 box per sound, but that's because each letter has its own sound. So my word is clam. I would go ahead and have younger, more tactile, concrete learners, go ahead and listen on their chin. K, ul, a, clam. All right, I heard a k at the beginning, so I would go ahead and I would write the C in the first box. K, ul, a, So because even though these are blends together, they still are saying k and ul. They don't work together to say an entirely different sound. So they have their own individual boxes, but the way that I model that for children and help them to see it is if I'm mapping out a word like this, I might just kind of put a little swoop like that to help them remember that those are connected. All right, here we go. K, ul, a, Then I would probably go into that continual blending. Clam, blend it, clam. All right, taking away a little bit of the supports here, I might just have lines for each sound. So we have our k, ul, a, And there I would have k, ul, a, continual blending, clam, blend it, clam. My next step or option would be to use the dots. This is a really popular method right now. K, ul, a, K, ul, a, Continual blending, clam, blend it, clam. And then of course I might have the word provided for the student and using a different color marker. That's what I like to do when I'm doing a lesson like this with learners, especially if they're struggling. But again, I always say this, I've talked about this before. If you don't have a whiteboard and a marker for your child to use, it's really a great thing to have. Those are absolutely fantastic. They're simple. You can find resources like that at the dollar store. I highly recommend to have a whiteboard and a marker. All right, so in this case, I might just go ahead and show that blend like this. Cool, a, k, ul, a, clam, blend it, clam. And again, blending sounds together is really, really tricky for learning littles. They don't always get it right. There's some that are trickier than others. And so if you need to isolate that and really work on it and cool, go back and do that. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. And with that, I encourage you again to take advantage of all of my resources. Most of them are free. And with that, I'll see you next time when I teach to your Learning Littles learning strengths, one child and family at a time.